Hello everyone, Tiffany Cole here once again. This is day 2 of my artist takeover. Just let people enter into the live. Say hi to people. So it's day 2 of my artist takeover and the second day of my artist talks. I'm so excited for today's talk. I'll be talking to the incredible Megan Reed. She is an artist I've been following for many years, based in the States, also in Virginia. And I'm so excited to finally speak to her. So I will add her in and we will get to talking. Here we go. Hi. Hello,
Hi. I think I'm here.
Hello.
I'm a little tall. Okay. I think I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Okay. Yeah, pretty good.
Good. You're in your studio, yeah?
I am. Yes. It's a bit of a mess over there.
That's how you know you're working. You're working hard.
I am.
So interesting. I know you mentioned you know Agnes's work, but so interesting. You're both in Virginia. What's happening in Virginia?
I was actually, when I saw that, I was so excited. I even need to write her because I was asking if I could come see her new studio next, week or something. I know her.
Wow.
And her work is amazing.
Absolutely. So I guess Virginia is the new mecca for female figurative artists.
Evidently. Yeah, no, I love her work. I met her in Richmond, actually, where she lives. I had gone down and done a couple workshops there that she was also doing. And obviously our work is really different, but hers is amazing. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I'm so glad to finally talk to you. I was looking through our DMs and we first started talking in 2017.
I know, I was thinking about it because I feel like you were one of the people that I started following like right as I was getting going. I feel like we were both kind of starting at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's kind of funny. It's been fun to watch your work, which is so gorgeous.
Thank you. And you too. I mean, it feels like just yesterday, but when I look back at our conversations of like, just being so brand new and seeing how far you've come like in your career in this amount of time and
likewise
how much things have gone, it's incredible. So I'm so excited to talk to you. And also I've always wanted to ask you, I think one of my first comments to you was you're self-taught, and I was writing questions for today's interview and I just wrote how. So like I honestly I stare at figurative work all day. Obviously, it's my life, but every once in a while you come across an artist where you just can't understand how you do it. So I wanted to ask you, what was your journey learning and honing your skills as an artist?
Gosh, I don't, that's really sweet. First of all, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there are probably better ways to do it than I did. I feel like, I see there's so many resources out there, like videos and classes. And, I mean, they must be amazingly useful. I didn't do any of that stuff, partially just because I have trouble with my attention span. I really don't like watching videos or staring at screens more than I have to. And I just don't have the patience to like read many things about it. So it's definitely for me been mostly just like, reading like little teeny things and being like, all right, I don't feel like finishing that. And then just banging my head against the wall. Yeah. Over and over and over again until it seems like it will work. And then, sometimes when I'd hit issues, I would honestly just like Google the issue, like a specific issue, like a technical issue. So, I mean, yeah, I would say it was just many, many hours trying to figure it out. And I mean, I did take, I took a intro to painting, like 3-day workshop. And, I've taken a couple like you know, 2-day workshop type things. So yeah, but I mean, I did, you know, I grew up drawing,
Nice.
not officially. It's just what I did. There wasn't much else to do. I grew up like on the edge of a farm, so a lot of drawing. So I feel like you know, I kind of had been developing my eye from a young age, but not really traditionally trained. I did have a couple years when I was a teenager working with a painter, actually in the building I'm in right now, which is amazing. And she very sweetly, I think she had seen some of my drawings and just kind of offered to teach me. So I spent about a year with her, but then I dropped all of it until I was in my early 30s.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always tell people like, oh, I'm self-taught. I learned from YouTube, but I could see why we connected because I'm the same exact way. Every YouTube video I failed to say that every YouTube video I watch, like I try to watch the 2-hour new Masters Academy videos, and I get about 20 minutes in,
You're
draw
just like,
the
no.
egg head, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go off and do whatever.
Yeah, that just doesn't work for me. You know, I mean, everyone's attention is different, and it is funny. I have some issues with my attention, obviously, based on what I'm saying, and I think people are always shocked when I say that because they're like, "Well, but you sit and paint fur for 12 hours," and I'm like, "Yeah, I have an issue with attention regulation, is what I have."
Right.
So I can pay attention to certain things, and I can definitely paint for a really long time and completely be in that space, but yeah, other things are really hard. So yeah, it's basically, you know, I got back to it when I was, I don't know, when we first started talking.
Yeah.
And then
it's
just
funny how these negative things, you know, like having trouble with attention, or for me, it's like obsession with, you know, whatever, perfection or this or that have really hurt me in many areas of my life throughout my life. But for whatever reason, this channel that I found, art, I can use that, and it just works perfectly in that way. And I think that's how you not that I don't battle. I mean, I battle and go through every emotion possible on a daily basis, but
of course,
it just works and it just fits. And I totally agree with you on the workshops. I took one workshop and I had spent several years learning on my own. So I built up this like question, you know, these questions, and hit these, I feel like you hit sort of plateaus as you're a self-taught artist. And all of a sudden you're just like, I can't move past quite this level of skill. And then you know kind of what you need, and asking other artists and having an artist community and going to weekend workshops, it's an incredible way to learn, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do more of it. I've done very little, but it would be it would be great. Yeah. Well, and also, you know, I mean, when I was younger, there were periods when I wasn't actually doing that kind of work myself, but like I really wanted to get back to making art because it's what I loved when I was young. And, you know, I kind of have dreams about maybe going to an atelier, you know, like of course the Florence Academy thing, but it's like, what the fuck was I going to pay for that? Like,
exactly.
I mean, and I'm so happy for people who can do that. But at that point in my life, there was just no way. I mean, so, and I think because I felt like I didn't know how to do anything, that's part of the reason I probably didn't do it for so many years. I was too scared to try. And there was that thing that you were talking about yesterday with Agnes and that's happened to me so many times in my life where I'm like, well, at this point I'm too old to even bother trying, which is ironic because it's like, well, damn, if I hadn't told myself that 10 years ago, I wouldn't be starting now. But it's funny. I mean, your perspective on time just changes as you get older. You're like, okay, I have even less left now, but I still have a shit ton of time. So
absolutely,
might as well get into it.
Yeah, it's like all these cliches, like they're really true. You know, you can really decide, and if you put your mind to something, that's why I love speaking, you know, to other artists, and we seem to all have such similarities because of just exactly what you said. For me, is the same thing. I thought, oh well, I had the grand dreams of going to Florence Academy as well. And I thought, oh, well, I can't do that, so I'll never be blah. And then I found a local life drawing group in my area. Or, you know, there's really no stops if you make that decision. And that sort of like goes into my next question, which I know I read on your website, you used to work in tech. And how did you sort of transition from the professional world to the professional artist?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was, I don't really understand how I ended up there, but
Sure.
I started working full time for a web design company when I was 17.
Okay.
And I mean, really, I was really lucky. I mean, I needed to pay bills. I wasn't living with my family, and I was offered a really amazing job because I was already doing some like design work. And I think they were like, oh, you're an artist, you'll be good at design. Like, you'll be great at this. And so, yeah, I just kind of lucked into, especially for someone who was not college educated and at that age, a really great job. I mean, I stayed at that same company for 8 years, ended up, you know, being the creative director. It was, you know, that was kind of, I don't know, it just happened. And then, you know, I ended up kind of, you know, being offered a job from another one of our clients. And then I mean, I never applied for jobs. I just kind of moved between clients that I already knew, and then ended up doing startups with a couple different companies. And I mean, that's honestly the only way I was able to really actually be able to create the space for myself to actually take the time to really focus on the work the way I would have wanted to. So I mean, I definitely, so I kept doing that, and then I hit the point where I was like, yep, really hate my life. I really could never look at a computer again and be thrilled. Yeah. So at that point, my idea was not that I was going to, you know, become an artist. My idea was just, okay, I'm going to go back to consulting. I can bill hourly, I can work a lot less, and I'm going to start just trying to do the things that make me feel happier. And at one point that was art, so I'm going to pick that up again. So I did, you know, I started drawing again, honestly. And then I kind of decided I wanted to figure out how to paint, and it just kind of escalated very quickly. Yeah. And so, I mean, when I first did it, I had like a little show in town, and I was super shocked that everything sold. And I was like, oh, well, shit. Like, is that a thing? Is this like a job? What? So then I was like, oh, wow, I'd love to figure out how to, the problem is I'm really slow, or was still kind of am because of the style I paint in, but I was really slow back then. I was like, there's just no way to do it without more time. So I was really lucky because I had, because of the industry I was in before, and because of my involvement in the startup I had been involved with before, where I was designing and building stock trading analysis and
wow.
tools. It was, so similar to what we're doing now. Analysis and trading tools. So anyway, I was able to create some financial space, basically. Nice. By doing that. So I was already selling work, but I don't think there's any way I could have, I don't know, made the transition without a little bit of a buffer. So I was really lucky to have that. And then, you know, it's gone surprisingly well. And I've kind of made that transition, which has been nice and surprising.
Yeah. I mean, it's a journey, you know, and each person finds their way to make it work. You know, I definitely had every side job on planet Earth at the beginning, you know, and well, first, of course, a full-time job, and then slowly moving away, you know, like taking a little bit more of the safety net away, and as scary as it was. And yeah, it's not an easy life. And of course, I'm sure you can relate. It's like 7 days a week, hustling, always on, you know, but
and of course having to do a lot of jobs that you also are not good at and don't love, like the marketing side, and
absolutely
dealing with Instagram. I'm like, this is not
trying not to be deleted every week. A lot of things to run up against.
Yeah, I had no idea how much time I would spend just like literally dealing with fucking logistics, like
Totally.
just shipping or like crates or just like that's, I mean, I had no idea. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Framing, like figuring out how I'm going to frame everything and how I can afford to frame everything. And
yeah, I mean, at one point last year, I was doing 90% admin in the week.
Yeah.
It was like, how did this happen?
I know.
So I've forced myself, like, I am an artist. I'm not an administrator, you know.
But it's hard.
Yeah. So I would love this week. So I'm sharing my inspirations on art aesthetics, and I would love to know what artists inspired you in your journey as an artist.
Well, let's see. I mean, when I was a little kid, I would say my favorites were probably Maxfield Parrish.
Okay.
Gotta love a good Maxfield Parrish painting still. You know, Escher, like very, I didn't grow up in a family where art was a thing like that. Actually, which is ironic because my family is all sort of in the arts. I mean, musicians and that kind of thing. But, I don't know, I wasn't exposed to that much. So, old master stuff like everyone.
Yeah.
And then, when I started working again, I wasn't looking at any art at all.
Wow.
And I have no art background.
Sure.
So, so there wasn't much of that, I would say. I mean, I now have some art books.
Yeah. Is there anyone you pull from? Like for me, sometimes I'm like, where am I going with this piece? What? And I can just look through blah art book and pull from that master. And
no, I feel like I should, but I don't.
No, it's great.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's, so I have mixed feelings about it. I think there's part of me that tells myself that I'm worried if I spend too much time doing that, then I'm going to pull too much from it, which is stupid because like people have always done that. Yeah. And that's what makes great work. But I don't know. I remember talking to one of my collectors who actually has been an amazing collector and talking about how his daughters went to art school and he was just like, oh, it ruined them. Like,
don't hear that over and over.
Yeah. Like, so glad you didn't do that. So there's part of me that's like, well, I don't spend that much time looking at things, but honestly, I'm sure I would be a better artist if I did. And it might just be an excuse because I'm lazy and I just want to paint.
When you need it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like for me, I was the same. I never looked at anything. When people would talk art history, I would sit in the corner and be like, what are you talking about? And then I just went, I moved to London, and of course the museums here and the galleries are freaking stupendous. So I then fell upon all these works that sort of saved me when I needed help, sort of. But that's really beautiful because I can see how the negative aspect of that, like I've taken a workshop or there's been contemporary artists I love, and I, sometimes some drawbacks about taking workshops is like you end up doing like the style that they're doing, and then I've gone, they say somebody I admire so much says this style is the style to do, so I need to change my whole thing, and I've gone on veered off, and then I went, this is not me, no matter what anyone says. So to have that noise kind of not enter your mind, which I think art school is really horrible, can be really horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are pros and cons, and and I do think that it also can lead to not doing that, can lead to a tendency to just like go really deep in one area. And I don't know, I mean, I've been thinking about it recently. When I was drawing, my style was really different. I mean, there was always a lot of like really detailed, finely rendered stuff, but it was always a mix. I always left them incomplete. There were always like looser aspects. And I haven't pulled that into this work with the
Yeah.
painting. And I don't know, again, when you're having the conversation yesterday, I was like, do we even need to do our interview tomorrow? Because I feel like you're covering a lot of the things I want to say.
We'll expand upon it.
But like, yeah, I don't know if, it is partially that, wanting to really get a grasp on, sorry, I'm looking at a painting, on like rendering and being able to like fully realize something. Yeah. So how much of that is the reason that I'm working in the style I am and taking things as far. And there are things I love about it and will always love about it, but I am recently feeling like, I really just want to put some I don't know, some colors on there. Like, I need to break it somehow.
But you, like the pieces you've been doing recently with like the translucent body parts and then the blurry body parts that are moving and then the, colored face. I mean, that is, to me, entering in something that is almost not necessarily abstract, but just magical and different, and it adds so much to the work and adds even more, like, how does one make a translucent arm look perfectly real?
I mean, I definitely have been just starting to play with different ways of kind of breaking it. I mean, I've always done kind of the translucent elements, but I've been doing it a little bit differently more recently, and then with the blurring elements. And but yeah, I don't know what direction I'm going to go into. It is hard though, also when you're lining up all of these shows, and there is a sort of an expectation that you're going to give them work that is similar to the work that they invited you for.
Totally. Yeah, it's what every artist I know runs into, and
it's a little tricky. So it's hard to know how to kind of create that space, because it's not that I don't love the work I'm doing. I do, and I'm super excited that other people do, but I would like to figure out a way to play a little bit more.
Totally. And I've never talked to you about this, and I've never heard you talk about it when I Googled you, but I'm working mostly in self-portraits, and I noticed you are as well. And I was just wondering if that's something you've always explored and why you chose to work in that way.
Yeah, it's funny. So I would have answered totally different. As you're saying that, I was remembering, like just this moment, remembering when I was a little kid, like, I don't know, 12, well, like, even younger, probably 10 through 12, like that age. I actually now remember that I used to use photographs of myself to draw from. I don't know. I don't know why. Like, I'm not sure. I don't know. I just had them, and I don't know. I still feel like no matter how many times I look in the mirror, I don't actually know what I look like. It's very confusing. I don't have a great relationship with myself in that way. So maybe that's part of it. But when I started again more recently, I think it was twofold. I mean, I think it was partially because I wanted to make things. I've always been drawn to figurative work. That's just what I loved seeing. And I was too nervous to ask someone to model for me. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It just feels very weird. Why would someone want to waste their time sitting there for me? I don't know. And also people make me really nervous. So like having to be around another person seems stressful. So that was part of it. It was just like the actual convenience. And at the same time, I was kind of hitting a point in my life where like I was, I don't know, the least happy with my body and just the least comfortable in my own skin I had ever been. And it seemed like a maybe kind of surprising way, but a way for me to deal with that.
Yeah, no.
So I don't know, it just kind of seemed to make sense. Which, yeah, so I don't know, it was a way to have, I guess, or create more empathy when I, didn't really have that in real life.
Great word, especially as a figurative artist. I'm sure you have experienced, you know, every model that comes in front of you or that you shoot, you know, regardless of any different, you know, style, look, weight, age, blah, that they have, there's something you find in that form that is so beautiful. And
exactly.
despite the words that are coming out of their mouth, which when I was working with other models, I was mainly working with models who were posing nude for the first time, and the first thing that would come out of their mouth before they took their clothes off was something negative. And I just went, wow, I see every single aspect of them, the things they hate, as so damn exciting. I can't wait to draw that. I can't wait to render that. Look how the shadow hits that. And when you're working with yourself, you can't help but find the art in this vessel that you've had such a tumultuous relationship with.
Exactly.
So it's very healing.
Yeah. So there's a lot of it. And it's funny, no matter how long I do it, I still haven't figured out a way to bring that into the real world, which is interesting. You know, I mean, in my work, like I have a lot of empathy for, and, you know, I think that the shapes and whatever I make is, you know, there's, you know, beauty in it. It's like a landscape. Haven't figured out how to, feel that way in real life. But yeah, I think that's the reason, which is funny because I think that a lot of people assume that modeling for yourself, and especially nude, I'm sure you hear this too, just must mean that you
know what you're going to say.
Well, just that you have like an extreme like level of comfort with your body and with nudity. And it's like, no, that is not true at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's more of a work therapy than anything else.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just a fuck you to all the years I spent, you know, just being the meanest person on the planet to myself.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm just gonna put that thought on the shelf. And what am I doing here? I'm helping someone else create art. I'm creating art for myself that's affecting somebody else. And when I create art of somebody who's being so negative of themselves, and then they see a beautiful thing, then all of a sudden that creates even a spark of a little bit of a change in them. It's worth it.
Yep. Yeah. So
beautiful.
That's why.
I love it. Oh, it's so cool to talk to you about this. And then my last question I'm asking all the artists this week is, are there any contemporary artists you're loving? It's hard because Instagram is so full, but
I know. I was struggling with that question. I mean, I feel like, you know, I could name dozens of artists whose work I really like. And, you know, there's some artists whose work is a little bit more similar to mine that I love, but it's ironically, they're not the ones I'm like most excited about right now, which actually also I just mentioned, like, you know, so before this conversation, I was going through on Instagram, like my things I had saved. And I would say 80% were sculptures.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you worked in sculpture before?
Yeah, I have actually. And
cool.
Not a ton, a couple times. I've done a couple workshops, and both times, I think 2 days in, I was like, I'm never painting again.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fuck painting.
Well,
this is like the real thing.
Wow. I can only imagine your level of detail. Whoa. That could be a great translation.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I really want to make more time for that. And I haven't figured out a way to do that. Again, just like trying to figure out how to, you know, do the shows, make ends meet, and delving into something that I don't actually have, you know, that's new to me, feels hard. But I don't think that's really, I don't think that's why. It's not like I'm saving them because I'm looking at them because I'm going to be a sculptor. It's more when I save things because I'm really drawn to them, they tend to be sculptures right now. Or, you know, and some of the painters that I'm thinking of, like, whose work I really love is just so dissimilar to mine, you know, and that was what I was saying before, like, I don't know. I mean, when I started painting, you know, some of the first people who I was looking at whose paintings I loved were like, you know, Mitch Griffiths and Jeremy Geddes.
Okay.
He does the like astronaut
Oh yeah.
exploding building ones. They explode your brain. Yeah. So like
a
stuff like that.
Perfect.
Yeah. Which is still, of course, amazing. And then I don't know, but recently I've just been, kind of really drawn to work that is, I don't know, just very different. Like that. Who's that? The director of the Barcelona Academy. You know his stuff. He does those. They're like red paintings, and they're a mix between really rendered figures, and then they just get really messy. And he's doing like a whole Dante series. I don't know. They're amazing.
That's amazing.
You should look him up.
Yeah. Please do. I'll share it in the here if anyone's interested.
Yeah. Well, I can go in and comment and be like, that guy. But anyway, so I don't know. Really big messy things and sculptors. That's kind of what I'm into right now.
Chase says he loves him, so he knows who you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That guy.
Beautiful. And also on this sculpture thing, I've seen a few artists. My studio mate, or my former studio mate, Henrik Oldalen, he loves creating pottery.
Work is amazing, by the way.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So he started, just adding a bit of pottery into his show and filling out his storyline with that. And I think Jay Lewis, who's also shown at Arcadia, who's absolutely incredible. He I think did some like pressed pigment small sculptures in one of his shows. And, oh my God, nothing like
trying to figure that out.
Like
I definitely
pressed pigment. Oh, so
good. In my head, I feel like actually I did a show early 2019. Sorry, last year just made everything so crazy. It's hard to keep track of, but I guess it was 2019. And I really wanted to actually do mostly paintings, but have a couple of sculptures in there too. And then I ended up going and doing that. I think we talked about it, going and painting for the other guys,
right?
Like the ghost painting thing and fucking all that. So I didn't do it, and then I haven't gotten back to it. But I would love to figure that out. How to split the time, but it is hard because it's like, what's hard? Painting, and also it's hard, sculpture, and having enough time to like be good at both of them. I don't know if it's possible, but I'd like to try.
It'll open up at some point. It'll be the right time, and
that's what I'm hoping. And I'm thinking that is where I might actually put more time into workshops. Not just because I want to learn, but because it forces me to make the time.
Absolutely.
So I can, be like, well, I'm devoting a week to this because I'm at a workshop and I don't know how else to fit it in. So that might actually be also, it might be a good excuse to travel.
Yes. Yes. Must come to Europe again, and we have to meet finally.
I know. I would love that. I would love that. I know. Now that we're actually allowed to go places.
That's right.
I'm thinking hopefully later this year. I was hoping to make it to Barcelona for at least like one of the openings earlier, but it's just, I can't right now.
Are there any coming up that you're part of there?
Yeah. There was the women painting one in March.
Yeah.
And then there's Mod Portrait is opening, I don't know, next week, this week. What's today?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway,
it's Wednesday, Tuesday? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's opening on the 18th or something, I think. So that's soon. So I missed both of those. I don't know. But I submitted to Figurativas. Maybe if they'll let me stay for the next round, there'll be one for that.
Nice. Well, things are kind of moving in the right direction, and hope. My show just got pushed off 3 months, but I think for the better, because I was very sad not to be able to go. And so we'll look back on this at some point and tell our grandchildren interesting stories about it.
Definitely. Certainly.
Well, May, thank you so much for talking to me. It's been a freaking pleasure. We finally did it. And
thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. And everyone check out her work. And I'm going to post some of your work as a follow-up to this on Art Aesthetics. And thank you for being an inspiration to me.
Oh, likewise. All right. Have a good
Okay,
one.
y'all.
Bye.
Okay, May. Thank you. Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want to make a request, drop it down in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon to get notified when a new video comes out. Thanks for watching.